Hello, Uyemi from Sewing with Uyemi Fash, and in this tutorial we'll be looking at grain lines and how to indicate them on our pattern. So right here I have my basic blocks. This is the front bodies with only waist dart, and this is also these are not front bodies with both waist and shoulder dart, while this is my back bodies. So right now, basically a grain line, it's the direction of the thread that makes up our fabric in relation to the selvage. So this here, right here, is the selvage. Selvage is that finished edge of the fabric whereby you find the fabric manufacturer's information. So as you can see here, this is with Ankara fabric, while on this striped fabric there is no manufacturer's information here, but this is the finished edge. And then we can see that these stripes run in a vertical line, or at least parallel to the straight grain, so parallel to the selvage. So looking at this, we have three grain lines. We have the vertical or the straight grain, we have the crosswise grain, which is also horizontal, and then we have the bias grain, which is at 45 degrees to the straight grain. So I'm going to indicate my straight grain first of all, and the straight grain is always parallel to center front or your center back. The grain lines are usually indicated before any pattern alteration takes place. Before any style lines or any pattern alteration takes place, it's best to indicate your grain lines first. So this is for this front, for these bodies with two darts. I'm going to have my grain line like this. Using my ruler, I have parallel lines here. I'm going to align my center front with either of these two lines. It has to be straight like this. Then I'll indicate this as my grain line. So it's usually best to get a pattern drafting ruler like this that helps with indicating such lines. And I'll do the same here on this pattern, which is also parallel to my center front. And for my center back, it's also going to be parallel to center back. Even if I have the dart that is usually at center back, sometimes to reduce our waist, to reduce the bulge at the zip, there's usually a dart running from the waistline to the chest line. But when I'm drawing my grain line, I will not put it parallel to this line, because even if I take this and fold this, which we'll eventually do when we put a dart at center back, I have to indicate. I cannot use this and then indicate. I can't use that new line to indicate my grain line, because this line is no longer straight. But I have to indicate this before cutting this part out. So it has to be this way. The grain line has to be indicated before this is done. So this is our straight grain, and then next is to illustrate how to get the cross grain. So the cross grain is usually perpendicular to this line, to the straight grain line, which also means it's perpendicular to our center front or the center back line. So all I have to do, take my ruler and then align this way. This short crosses, I'll align it right next to my center back or this grain line, my center front line or this grain line, so whichever one. So as long as that line is straight. So once I align this in a cross like this horizontally, and then as you can see, it's crossing this straight line at 90 degrees. So I'm going to indicate it like this, and then do the same for center back. I'm going to align it with this line, either this line or the center back, but not my slanted center back. It has to be the straight center back. also for this front bodice that has only the waist start. So I have my straight grain, which is also the lengthwise grain, and then the cross grain, which is also the horizontal grain. So now I want to indicate our bias grain. So this bias grain line here is actually at 45 degrees to the straight grain line, and in order to get that, using my ruler, this is my straight line. This line here crosses this straight line at 45 degrees. As you can see, this line in the middle crosses this at 90 degrees. So this line is in between. It is halfway, which is my 45 degrees. So this is how I am going to indicate my grain line. I will align this line and this line like so with my straight grain and cross grain. But even if I don't have a cross grain line, I can always align it with my center front line like this. If my pattern does not have the straight grain and the cross grain, I can always align this with my center front line and then mark my grain line like this. Okay, so this is, I'm going to indicate the same here using this and drawing this line like so. So if you don't have this type of ruler, one other way we can use to indicate the bias grain, I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to draw a square on my pattern block. The square of which the square has to be parallel to center front or center back. So I'll draw. I'm going to have my half-inch square. And then connect this diagonal to this diagonal. And then draw this way. This is also my 45 degree line. So I can choose to draw it in this direction or also draw it in this direction. It depends. Still the bias line. Okay, so this is for my bias line. So the bias line can either go in this direction or this direction. Still the same thing. My straight grain is going parallel to center front or parallel to center back, and then the crosswise grain is horizontal, which is perpendicular to my center front and my center back. So these are the three grain lines, and you can achieve this on any pattern block regardless of how it was drafted. So taking this to my fabric, on my Ankara fabric, the African wax print, to get my straight grain, you take your pattern block. This is my selvage, and then I have to make sure that this line, this straight grain line, is aligned with my selvage edge. And I can achieve this by using my ruler or my tape rule to measure the distance of this edge, to this line. I will not align it to center front, just in case I have done some pattern alterations or manipulations to my center front. For example, the center back, just in case if taking a dart at center back, then I will not be able to use this again, but instead I'm going to rely on this grain line. So I'm going to measure this and make sure that the distance between the edge and my straight line is the same along this line, not just on one spot. So once I've checked this, I move it up and then also confirm that this distance is the same, and then also do the same straight down. So as you can see, it's not the same straight down, so which means I have to move my pattern a little bit, just this bottom part that is not aligned, until I get the same measurement as what is up here. So yes, so this is my pattern which is aligned, and then I can pin my pattern to fabric. If I want to align this with the, if I want to cut my pattern on the cross grain, then all I have to do is align this pattern in such a way that this line, this cross grain line, is parallel to this edge. In this way, this is how it's going to be. And most times pattern is placed this way when we want to take, if we need to take advantage of the design on the print of the fabric, if it's going from one selvage edge to the other selvage edge. That is when we mostly put our patterns this way. But ideally, patterns are usually placed on the lengthwise grain to take advantage of the fact that this is the strongest part of the fabric. The fabric is more stable along the lengthwise grain, and there's minimal stretch. While on my cross grain, there's a little bit of stretch, and then I do the same measurement from this edge. I do the same measurement from this edge to my crosswise grain, and then I make sure it aligns like this. I'll measure that along different spots of my grain line just to be sure. That it is aligned. So this is aligned, and then I pin this down. So you can either use fabric weight or pattern weight or pins to hold your fabric, to hold your pattern to fabric, making sure not to move the pattern. And then next is the bias grain, which also means this thread line. I'll need to align this thread line to my selvage here, right here, and make sure that this line is parallel to the selvage. So as you can see, the pattern is already taking different shapes. It's going in different directions. So I'm going to align this and then measure here. It has to be parallel. So this is straight. Straight. Okay, and then we'll also pin this down. So this is how fabric grain lines, this is what it means to take advantage when using your fabric grain lines. So this grain line here is the most stable, as there is the least stretch here along the straight grain, while on the cross grain there's minimal stretch. That is this way. If you stretch your fabric this way, there's stretch in the fabric, but this way the lengthwise grain is stable. So here, this is on the bias grain. So if I were to pull my fabric this way, I will see that, as you can see, there's a bit of stretch right there. So this gives more fluidity in the garment. This is most stable, while this is more fluid. So this is the grain line on a fabric with a random print. So I'll be illustrating how to achieve this using the striped fabric. And this is the grain line. This is the grain line here. So as we can see, this stripe runs parallel to the grain line, so it's actually easy for us to align this at any point. So using the front bodice with only one dart, I will align this with the stripe. So sewing with stripes is much easier, as the stripes make it easier to align to grain line, to get the grain line. Okay, this is my straight grain. Then my cross grain, which is this grain line, it's going to be parallel to my stripes. Because my stripes is running straight, you know, I said all grain lines, when you're about to cut it, you are going to align in such a way that it is parallel to the straight grain, but the pattern itself has moved. So this is this. Now make sure that this line here aligns with this stripe here. As you can see, it's much easier to get my grain lines on the striped fabric than the fabric with random print. So with this print, I can actually take advantage. I can use this print in designing the garment just by following the grain lines. So for the bias grain, I'm going to align this. So I can choose to align it this way with the neck facing upwards, and then this line is parallel to the stripe, or I can choose to align it this way and then have this line parallel this way. So it depends on the effect I want to use. So it's either like this line has to be parallel to the stripe, or like this, where also this line is parallel to the stripes. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. Please remember to like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when new videos are uploaded. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.